Growing up in a small town outside of Montreal in the 1960s was not exactly the prime location for a young, aspiring show jumper. But when someone dares to dream big, anything can happen.
Extremely talented. You could see it every day. You could see the change in his writing every day. And he had just really started a couple of years before, because I think he started when he was like 12 years old, and by that time he was 14. And he could ride horses and learn, and he never made the same mistake twice.
The man behind the dream was Michel's larger-than-life father, Maurice, who was a salesman by day, but started a riding school so Michel would have the chance to chase the dream.
Maurice always said, Michel va aller loin. You know, Michel is going to go far. Trust me, Michel will make it. And they were friends, really. I think more than father and son, I think they were friends. And they had a lot of respect for each other.
Michel's talent, even at a young age, was obvious. And at age 16, he was beginning to fulfill all the promise Maurice had for him until one winter day in 1971.
Maurice died the 2nd of February 1971, a riding accident at his own stable. I believe he died on the spur of the moment, during the fall.
Michel had lost his hero, but he carried Maurice's belief with him as he continued to chase the dream. By 1975, at the age of 21, Michel Vaillancourt had fulfilled the dream. Bronze medalist on Canada's equestrian team at the Pan Am Games in Mexico City. However, fate, history, and the power of positive thinking were about to collide.
Branch County, you know, he brought him to, because he only had him for a few months before the Olympics. I believe it was in March that they had him, and the Olympics was in July. So he only had him for a few months because his number one horse was not available.
And it was about to happen virtually in Michel's backyard.
It was a natural amphitheater type stadium. It was not stadium seating. You sat on the side of a hill on plywood seats. Tremendous crowds.
It would be like sitting in the Coliseum and watching these horses come in. It's huge, yet you were close to the action.
The individual course at Bromont was co-designed by Tom Gayford and Robert Jolicoeur.
These poles in Montreal were 7 inches in diameter, and they weighed almost 100 pounds. And the cup that holds the pole covered half the circumference. So literally you couldn't knock them down.
Round 1 saw only a single clean round by eventual champion Alvin Chocomoule with young Michel Vaillancourt one rail back. Michel was in rarefied air, tied with legends Hans Winkler and Frank Chapeau. Olympic gold medalists Raimondo Dinzio, along with Michel's gold medal teammates Jim Elder and Jim Day, were one rail behind. Round 2 saw Chocomoule go double clean, but the legends fell away. Michel's 8-fault ride in round 2 left him tied with Great Britain's Debbie Johnsey. Belgium's Francois Mathy was the only man left with a chance for the silver.
Coming to the last with a certain silver medal in his grasp. Over the first. Way out over the second. Onto the third, and he's right. No, it's just fallen, and Mathy, completely unaware, waves to the crowd.
Well, those individual medals came down to a jump-off. There were 3 riders for the other 2 medals, and we'd had a torrential downpour.
It was a deluge. We could hardly see the course.
But the young Canadian rider seems completely unperturbed by the tense situation. Thanks to the good surface, the course appears to be riding well. Is he going to jump the treble safely this time? Steadies him up round the turn. Here it comes. 6 inches to spare, but this time I think it's gone. First mistake, but a very fast time for 4 points.
Coming into the double, he started to pull on. The pole went out in front of him. He had to stop because the poles were so big and heavy that if he'd taken off, he'd have gone on his head. I've quite honestly never felt so disappointed in all my life.
A clear round to win the silver medal because Michel Vaillancourt was fast a time of 47 seconds. One fence down. Is he going to take the gamble? Now he's got to. Now the treble. 2 seconds up. He can do it. The third part, it's gone. And Matty has to be content with the bronze.
Bedlam, we were all screaming.
In the end, the hometown boy facing monumental odds stared down a field littered with gold medalists and proved Morris right.
I think they must have had a talk after that ride, Michel and him. Yeah. And he must have said, "You were right all along," because that's what Morris always said, you know, "You're gonna go far," and he was right.
While the hometown hero basked in the afterglow of his tremendous accomplishment, he was only 22. Great things were still ahead of him. Just 4 years later, Michel was in Rotterdam at the alternate Olympics.
We were in plenty tough in Rotterdam because Michel's first horse got hurt and he ended up doing the competition with his second horse. And it was a tough Nations Cup and it got fought right down to that last horse-rider combination.
That second horse was named Chivas, and Michel and his coach Pierre Jolicoeur had his second stringer ready to go.
Rarely is the so-called second horse as good as the first horse, and in this case, with all due respect to Chivas, he was not as good as the first horse, and it was just the great training of Pierre Jolicoeur and the great riding of Michel Vaillancourt that compensated for the inexperience of this horse and let them bring it up to that level.
He went in there, he knew he was on his second string horse, and he just rode the hair off it.
Canada would again shock the world with a remarkable win that was every bit Olympic worthy. At age 26, Michel Vaillancourt had achieved more than even his hero Morris could have hoped for. Michel's post-riding career has touched all aspects of the sport. He was a coach, chef d'équipe, and now is a very successful FEI course designer. And perhaps Michel's legacy was completed just last year in Hong Kong, when Eric Lamaze went to the top of the podium. Michel Vaillancourt, a trailblazer, a pioneer, a Canadian original.
Michel didn't come from a wealthy family, he worked his way up. Mario Delorier didn't come from a wealthy family, he worked his way into the sport, and you know, with the help of his father. And then the same for Eric. Eric is a self-made man, and he got to the top level of the sport by working hard and probably seeing that he was able to do it because maybe Michel started the whole ball rolling.